Jason had never expected anything unusual in his quiet apartment on the edge of the city. Life had been simple, even dull, for the past 3 years since he had left the military. He spent most of his days repairing electronics and occasionally helping neighbors with odd jobs. He liked it that way, predictable, safe, and quiet. But that evening, everything changed. It began with a knock at the door. Jason frowned. He rarely had visitors. When he opened it, there was no one outside. Only a small, sleek device lay on his doorstep. He bent down and picked it up. It was unlike anything he had seen before, a smooth, metallic cube, glowing faintly with blue light. Curiosity sparked in him. He brought it inside, careful not to touch the glowing part too long. As soon as he activated it, the room filled with a strange hum. A holographic figure appeared, flickering at first, then solidifying into a tall woman with bright, silver eyes and clothes that seemed to shimmer like liquid metal. Jason stumbled back, almost dropping the cube. "Do not be afraid," the woman said, her voice calm and melodic. "I am Aria. I need your help." Jason stared at her. You're a hologram?" he asked, unsure if he was hallucinating. "I am more than a hologram," she replied. "I am a messenger from another world. And time is short." Jason felt a thrill of fear and excitement. Part of him wanted to run, lock the door, and pretend none of this was happening. But another part, an instinct he couldn't explain, urged him to listen. "Another world?" he asked. "Yes," Aria said, stepping closer. Even though she was just a projection, her presence felt real, almost tangible. "Your planet is in danger, and you have the skills needed to prevent a disaster." Jason laughed nervously. "Me? What could I possibly do?" "I'm just a repairman. I'm not some hero or soldier anymore." "You have more than skills," Aria said, her eyes glowing brighter. "You have courage. And courage is rare among humans. It is what makes you capable of things others cannot imagine." Jason swallowed hard. He had never thought of himself as brave. He had survived combat, yes, but that was a long time ago. He was ordinary now, and ordinary people did not save worlds. "What kind of danger?" he asked. Aria's expression darkened. "A force unlike anything your people have encountered. It moves silently, taking entire cities without warning. I have come to find someone who can help us stop it. Someone who can think, act, and survive under impossible conditions. That someone is you." Jason's pulse quickened. "Why me? Why not a soldier or scientist?" "Because you are human," Aria said simply. "You do not rely on technology or brute strength alone. You rely on your mind, your instincts. That is what makes you unpredictable. That is why we need you." Jason rubbed his face, trying to understand. "Okay, let's say I believe you. What exactly do you want me to do?" "I need you to come with me," Aria said. "There is a place far beyond your world where the threat originates. You will help us find a way to stop it. You will face dangers no human has ever faced, and you will need to trust yourself and those around you." Jason hesitated. He thought of his small, quiet life, the simple routines he cherished. Leaving would mean abandoning everything he knew. But something in Aria's eyes, the intensity, the seriousness, made him feel that this was a moment he could not ignore. "All right," he said finally. "I'll do it, but I need to understand what I'm getting into." Aria nodded. "There will be time for understanding. First, you must come with me. Preparation can be done along the way." Before Jason could respond, the cube expanded, creating a small portal in the middle of the room. The air shimmered, and a soft wind brushed against his skin. Jason felt his heart pounding. He looked at Aria. "Is it safe?" he asked. "As safe as stepping into the unknown can be," she said with a small smile. "Now, take my hand. Trust yourself." Jason took a deep breath and stepped forward. The portal's light enveloped him, and in a blink, the familiar walls of his apartment disappeared. He found himself standing on a platform suspended in a sky that shimmered with colors he had never seen. Towering spires of crystal and metal stretched toward unknown heavens, and strange flying vehicles moved gracefully around them. Aria turned to him. Welcome to Eloria, the last safe world in this sector of the galaxy. Jason could barely speak. The beauty of the place was overwhelming. Colors danced in ways his eyes had never experienced, and the air was filled with scents that were sweet, sharp, and alive all at once. He wanted to ask 100 questions, but none of them seemed to matter at that moment. Where are we going first? He finally managed. To the council area said, they will explain the threat in detail. You must meet them and be ready to act. But first you must learn the ways of this world. It is unlike your Earth. Rules are different. Survival requires awareness and adaptability. Jason nodded, trying to take it all in. He had always been quick to learn, and he knew he could adapt, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. As they moved through the city, Jason noticed other beings. Tall creatures with elongated limbs and glowing eyes walked among the crystal towers. Small, agile creatures zipped through the air, leaving trails of sparkling light. It was a world alive with energy, and every movement seemed purposeful. Are they friendly? He asked. Most our area said, but all have their roles, their responsibilities. Trust is earned, not given. And here, actions speak louder than words. Jason took mental notes. Survival had always been about observation, and he knew he needed to pay attention. He watched as a merchant bartered with a trader, the exchange happening almost like a dance, precise and practiced. Another group of beings lifted a large structure with what seemed like no effort, their movements coordinated and efficient. He wondered how he, an ordinary human, could ever hope to fit in, nor make a difference. When they reached the council chamber, Jason's doubts grew. The doors were enormous, carved from a single piece of crystal. Inside, dozens of beings of various shapes and sizes were seated in a circular formation. Their eyes turned toward him, and a hush fell over the room. This is Jason, Arya said. He has agreed to help us. One of the council members, a tall figure with silver wings and eyes like molten gold, stood. A human? It asked, voice echoing as if through vast chambers. Why a human? They are fragile, short-lived, and untested in the ways of the galaxy. Jason felt his pulse quicken. He straightened his shoulders. I may be human, he said, but I've faced impossible situations before. I learn fast, I adapt, and I survive. If you need someone unpredictable, I'm your person. The council members exchanged glances, some murmuring among themselves. The winged being regarded him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Very well. We will test your capabilities. If you fail, your world may still be in danger. If you succeed, humanity may gain allies it never knew it had. Jason swallowed hard. He knew the weight of those words. This was no longer about adventure, it was about responsibility. About the fate of countless worlds. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. You are ready, she said softly. I will guide you, but you must rely on yourself. The next days will determine everything. Jason took a deep breath. The air felt heavier now, charged with purpose. He looked around the council chamber at beings from worlds he couldn't even imagine, and realized that he was no longer just Jason the repairman. He was someone who could make a difference. Someone who could rise above the limits of humanity and prove that courage, intelligence, and determination could change the galaxy. And deep down, he knew that the moment he had stepped through the portal, his life had already changed forever. The first test began almost immediately. He was led to a training arena suspended above a chasm that seemed endless. Beams of light formed paths, but they shifted unpredictably. Jason's task was simple in description. Cross the arena. Simple, but impossible, without focus, agility, and quick thinking. He observed the shifting beams, timing each step carefully. One misstep could mean falling into the abyss. But Jason moved deliberately, trusting his instincts. He leaped, ducked, and balanced on the light paths, his heart pounding with every movement. Behind him, Arya watched silently, her eyes assessing, her presence steadying him. Finally, he reached the other side. The council members nodded, impressed, but there was no time for celebration. This was only the beginning, the winged being said. The true test lies ahead, facing the threat itself. Jason clenched his fists. He didn't know what awaited him, but he felt ready. He had taken the first step into a larger world, and he knew he would not falter. Arya smiled at him. "You are remarkable, Jason. Even humans can surprise us." And for the first time in years, Jason felt the spark of purpose he had been missing, a spark that would drive him to face challenges no human had ever faced before. Jason stood at the edge of the training arena, his heart still pounding from the test. The shifting light paths had been difficult, but he had made it. He looked toward Arya, who stood quietly beside him. Her silver eyes reflected the soft glow of the arena. "This was only a test of agility and focus," she said. "The real challenge lies ahead. You will face what has destroyed other worlds, Jason, and you will not face it alone." Jason took a deep breath. "I'm ready," he said, though a part of him still wondered if he really was. The council had made it clear this was not a game. Lives, perhaps millions, were at stake. Arya led him through a series of corridors carved from crystal and metal. The city of Eloria was alive with energy, but every movement of its inhabitants seemed purposeful. Jason noticed how beings of all shapes and sizes moved together in harmony, and it reminded him of a well-trained unit on the battlefield. Coordination, he realized, was the key to survival here. They arrived at a large chamber where a star map was projected onto the floor. Jason bent down to examine it. The map showed multiple systems, connected by glowing lines that pulsed rhythmically. "The threat is called the Varick Area," explained. "It is a swarm intelligence, a collective of machines that consume everything in their path. Entire worlds have fallen before it. Your world will be next if we do not act." Stared at the map. The lines of the Varick's path stretched across dozens of systems, moving faster than he could track. "How do you fight something like this?" he asked, his voice low. "We adapt," Arya said simply. "We use strategy, creativity, and courage. You, Jason, represent humanity's unpredictability. You will do things machines cannot anticipate." Jason felt a surge of determination. He had always relied on his mind to survive, even when others counted only on weapons. And now, that same mind would be his greatest weapon. The council called for a meeting immediately. Jason, Arya, and a small group of beings from different worlds gathered around a circular table. Each brought their knowledge, skills, technology to the discussion. "The Varick does not reason," the winged council member said. "It calculates, it predicts, and it adapts. Only one species has ever defied its calculations: humans." Jason felt a mix of pride and pressure. "Then tell me what to do," he said. "I'll figure it out." Arya handed him a small device, similar to the cube that had brought him here. "This is a translator and control interface," she said. "It allows you to communicate with our technology and coordinate with the allies. You must learn quickly." Jason spent the next hours studying the device, practicing coordination, and learning the alien language in a simplified form. He surprised even himself with how quickly he adapted. The human mind, he realized, could learn and improvise in ways no machine could predict. After the training, the team prepared to leave Eloria. They boarded a fleet of sleek ships designed for speed and defense. Jason marveled at the engineering. The ships seemed alive, responsive to thought and gesture rather than conventional controls. The journey to the Varick's path was tense. Jason and Arya sat in the observation deck, watching the stars shift around them. "Are you scared?" Arya asked softly. Jason hesitated. "I'm nervous," he admitted. "But fear isn't the problem. Not acting is the problem," Arya nodded. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of it." They entered the edge of the Varick swarm, a vast expanse of dark matter dotted with glowing mechanical shapes that moved with frightening speed and precision. The sight was unlike anything Jason had ever seen. Machines that seemed both intelligent and relentless, consuming debris, converting matter, and growing larger by the second. The team deployed their first strategy. Jason coordinated with multiple ships, using the device to redirect energy pulses and confuse the swarm's sensors. It was a delicate balance, requiring both calculation and intuition. One wrong move, and the Varick could overwhelm them instantly. Hours passed, and Jason found himself immersed in the challenge. He identified weaknesses in the swarm's formation, exploited patterns that even the advanced council members had overlooked, and directed attacks that minimized risk to allied ships. Slowly, the Viewer's advance slowed. During a brief lull, Jason finally asked Arya the question he had been holding back. Why me? Why risk humanity this way? Arya looked at him, her eyes steady and honest. Because humans have something the Viewer's cannot predict. Creativity, courage, instinct, even the best technology can be anticipated. But your mind, it cannot. Jason felt a strange warmth at her words. He had always thought of himself as ordinary. But now he realized that his human nature was extraordinary in this context. The calm did not last long. A massive section of the swarm broke off and accelerated toward the fleet. It was faster than anything they had faced. Jason's heart pounded. We needed distraction, he shouted. Something to break their coordination. Arya quickly responded, deploying an array of energy fields to scatter part of the swarm. Jason used the device to synchronize with the ships, guiding them in unexpected maneuvers. The Viewer's reacted, but humans were unpredictable. They hesitated for a fraction of a second, enough for Jason and the team to strike decisively. The battle raged through the night. Jason's mind worked constantly, calculating angles, predicting reactions, and improvising strategies. The human mind, he realized, was a weapon as powerful as any laser or shield. Finally, after what felt like days, the swarm began to retreat. Jason and the team had exploited the Viewer's weakness. It could adapt to technology, but it could not anticipate ingenuity. Humanity had given them an edge they could not overcome. The council members congratulated Jason. You have done what no other being could, the winged leader said. You have saved countless worlds. Your courage and mind have made the difference. Jason felt a mix of pride and humility. He had never imagined that an ordinary human could have such an impact on the galaxy. He looked at Arya, who smiled at him quietly. You did it, she said. You've changed everything. Jason nodded, realizing the truth of her words. His life, once ordinary and predictable, had been transformed. He had seen worlds, faced unimaginable dangers, and proven that humans could rise above limitations. Courage, adaptability, and creativity, qualities often overlooked, had turned the tide. Arya extended her hand. Now, it is time to return. But remember this. Humanity is stronger than you think. Never doubt yourselves. Your species can achieve what no other can. Jason shook her hand, feeling the connection, the responsibility, and the promise of new possibilities. I won't forget, he said. When he returned to Earth, everything seemed smaller, quieter, yet filled with potential. He looked around at the familiar streets and skies and realized he carried a universe of experience within him. Ordinary humans might not wield laser weapons or command fleets, but they had something else, something unpredictable, adaptable, and brave. Jason smiled to himself. Life would never be the same, and he knew it. He had crossed a threshold from the ordinary to the extraordinary, and while the galaxy had been saved for now, he understood that humans could always rise to face challenges no one else could, and that realization filled him with pride and hope. Arya's words echoed in his mind as he returned to his quiet apartment. Your species can achieve what no other can. Jason sat down, thinking about the journey he had undertaken. It had begun with a simple knock at the door, a mysterious cube, and a choice to step into the unknown. That choice had transformed him, and he now knew that humans had a place among the stars not just as survivors, but as heroes capable of shaping the fate of worlds. He looked at the stars that night and smiled. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be human in a galaxy full of wonders, dangers, and endless possibilities. And he knew this was only the beginning.